signs. I think I just want to say that it's the problem has been established, long established issue about speed control on the roads that we've been talking about, Song Lake Road and in the center of town. Those areas that it goes from 55 down to 35. It's pretty well proven that these speed signs do help. They may not be the perfect end-all solution, but I think anything that we can do to help avoid the inevitable accident that's going to happen. Somebody that, we have a lot of people that walk their dogs and bike and everything else on those roads. And I just encourage the board, if you're going to discuss that tonight, if the motion comes up, I would encourage you to approve it. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. We're going to move on to committee reports. It's on the agenda.
Okay.
Dog control, no report received. I saw Judge Etzel. There you are.
Still here? Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, I have three
Thank you.
checks for you. One for June 2026 and one for July. I was actually able to get that done and approved already. So 5,524, 3,755, and then the big one is of the 19,000 that was in surplus that I inherited. We've identified the source of 15,694 of that. So that's going to be transmitted to the town and that from the judicial account. And then I imagine the state's going to invoice you for a portion of that. So do I get the
Great.
checks?
Thank you so much.
And then on Monday, somebody from the 6th Judicial Office is going to come and help Jerry Lynn and myself try to reconcile that remaining 4,000 to see where that can come.
Okay.
The two of them have already done some initial work, and I think they have it down to 1 month issue with the credit card payments. So if that is correct, we should be able to resolve that quickly.
Great.
And then lastly, I mentioned this earlier is something that we could do, that Justice Court Assistance Program grants. The cycle is now open, and what I would like to have considered is a resolution that would authorize the town court to apply for a JCAP grant up to the maximum amount of $30,000. And the three, I have a sample resolution here for you to consider. The three things I would propose that be spent on are, number one, secure filing cabinets so that the out-of-date records that still have to be maintained can be moved out of that office and make that a little easier for Jerry Lynn to work in, or whoever the clerk will be in the future. Number two, the state has passed a law that is allowing for remote appearances by video conferences for a lot of court proceedings. Not all of them, but some. And there are really strict guidelines for what you have to have set up in order to do that. You've got to have special cameras, a monitor. They recommend a cart so you can roll it in and out. The state has a list of those things. It's not critical to have those at this point, but it's going to be necessary to have it at some point in the future. So I would suggest getting the grant, just buying everything on the state list. I think it's about $5,000, but the state will now pay for it. In addition to something that's going to be required in the future, I think it's a good initiative because it does make court more accessible to people that have internet or the ability to call in, but don't have the ability to get to court, whether it's because of weather reasons, they're having transportation issues. It just makes court more accessible to everyone. And thirdly, I would strongly suggest that there be a security improvement made if you do want to have the clerk holding office hours where people can come in. I think it's a bad idea to have that in an unsecured area if you've got angry defendants coming in. And I think just replacing that door or another door with one of the secure doors that's got the bulletproof glass, it's got the window to slide things under, I think would be a good use of that grant. And I understand that a lot of people have concerns about applying for grants because it's tax money that was collected or it is going to be collected, and why should we just be buying things on grants that we may or may not need? I think all of these things are necessary and good, but number two, this is grant money that has already been collected. If the town of Preble doesn't seek the grant and get it, that money is going to go somewhere else to someone that will take it. It's not as though that money is going to be refunded to the taxpayers, or it's money that's not yet been collected. This is money that was collected in last year's cycle. Someone is going to get it, and I would suggest that the town of Preble get in line for it.
Two questions
Sure.
that I have. Over what period of time was this the reconciling where the fines were from and getting it collected and getting it to the town?
Those 2
What
months
was it?
were identified as August and September of last year.
Okay.
So it looks like the
right.
reports
So-
have been started but never submitted, and the money was just there.
It was just sitting out there.
It
and
was
then-
sitting in the
and
bank.
you've been able to reconcile it
Yes.
with the exception of the 4,000.
Correct.
Okay.
So I if I could just interrupt.
Yeah.
I know people get nervous when there is talk of unreconciled books, and rightly so, but this is not a case where money is missing and we're wondering where it went. This is a case of people that have paid fines and surcharges, and we're just not sure
where it came from.
where it came. So that's equally important to make sure that those people get credited for what they've paid, but there's absolutely no hint or suggestion that any of my predecessors absconded with money that they shouldn't have.
Okay.
It's the reverse.
It fell through the cracks last year. Okay.
And
But it's also important to make sure that the people that paid those fines, it's not showing up somewhere where their license is going to get suspended.
correct. In New York, your license cannot be suspended for failure to pay a fine. So even if we're unable to identify the source of that funds, the worst case is it just goes to unclaimed funds in New York. There is a long shot that somebody could realize that they paid money, it didn't get credited to them, and go collect it, but it's likely just going to sit there. So that's why there's the push to try to get it allocated. I think the idea that this could be credit card payments that weren't properly downloaded is a good one, because that credit card vendor is honestly a mess.
Okay.
I've had difficulty with them, and there's a 3 to 4 day lag from the time the person goes or puts it into the system before it actually goes into the bank. So depending on how the reports were run and those were downloaded, there could have been some that were skipped. And $4,000 is, $200 a pop is, 20 tickets, which is not an unreasonable amount. So.
And the remote appearance, that law passed.
That law has passed. It's just
Do you
not.
know when that was?
It's been piloted in other counties up until now, and this past year, Cortland County was included. And it's not for all proceedings; it's just for some
Minor traffic.
Actually, it can't be for a trial. It can be for a hearing, or I think the one that people would use the most would be the pretrial conferences with the DA for traffic tickets. So rather than having to mail or email documents to the DA and wait for response back, sign it, bring it into court, or mail it into
We could
court,
bring this into the 21st century.
you could bring this into the and how I envision it working, if people scheduled remote appearances, you would just maybe do those like an hour earlier
And
before court.
do you see this primarily as a improvement for people trying to get their tickets resolved, or for the court itself, or both?
I consider this more for the people that are trying to access the court for something like that, or any other, like a criminal case that may have a bunch of pretrial appearances. Maybe they don't need
And they don't live in the area.
and they don't live in the area. And at the risk, I understand on one hand, if somebody has been charged with doing something, there's absolutely the presumption of innocence. Maybe things shouldn't be easy while they're getting that resolved. I understand that people have that viewpoint, but on the other hand, there is the presumption of innocence. We don't want to penalize people simply because they've been charged. When they're convicted, yes, then punishment should apply. But if somebody is charged with DWI, one of the first things you do is you suspend their license. Coming to court now becomes an issue. So,
Right.
Now, who's looking to do this grant? If we do decide to go with a grant, is that somebody we have to find?
no, I file it.
You find.
I have
Okay.
done them before.
Okay.
They're actually relatively straightforward.
Okay.
Honestly, for this one, 2 out of those 3 items, I'm just going to go to the state list. The filing cabinets, the state has a list and an approved vendor. You just get that, and I would just need to find out how much space you have to put them,
Okay.
and I'll get them.
Oh, yeah.
The audiovisual equipment, again, there's a state list of things to get with an amount.
Word for word.
And then
That part has to be.
the third one, the door is just the gray area for me. You need to get a quote from a
Mhm.
contractor
Yep.
and figure out what exactly you want to do. But by leaving it up to that amount,
Right.
it gives you time to get those things done.
Thank you for the explanation about that.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's helpful.
Go ahead.
The town of Truxton just did one last year, and they updated a lot of their courtroom for just better security. They put lights in outside. I know was one of the big ones that Judge Brown did. But generally, anything that you want to do with regards to courtroom security is going to be quickly approved. The audiovisual equipment is a given, and since they mandate that you store things in secure filing cabinets, in fact, if they come in and do an audit and things aren't secure, yours are now because they're behind a locked door in that office, but it's difficult for the clerk to find things
Yeah.
quickly because they're in boxes. And
There's a deadline to apply for this.
The 22nd, and the September meeting is the
September.
14th.
Right.
And it requires a certified resolution, so I would suggest just doing it tonight.
Okay. So,
I typed one, I got it here.
we should discuss if you want to review if you guys want to review the resolution. The deadline to apply for the grant is September 22nd. John is suggesting that if we are so
Get it going.
inclined to get it going and vote
Right.
on it tonight.
All you're doing is authorizing the application for the grant, not how it's going to be
Right.
spent.
Right.
So I'm fine with that if you guys are.
So
Yep.
do it under new business.
It gives
Yeah.
a pretty good breakdown of what
Yeah,
he's looking
I mean, you want to circle back under new business?
It's up to you. I'm just saying, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do-
Again, there's
we'll
nothing's being spent or committed to being spent. It's just an application.
Right. So just authorizing the judge to
Apply for it.
apply for it. Okay.
yeah, that is all. It's just
Yep.
the permission to apply for the grant. It's not putting the town on the hook for anything
Right.
other than me
Okay.
submitting an application. And the applications don't require any matching funds from the town.
Okay.
If you don't get the grant, you're not required to do
To
anything.
get this up. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Highway?
If there's more you
Oh.
need from me, I'm gonna just.
No, we're good. No,
Okay.
I mean, you gave us a good rundown.
Oh, you've all got a copy of my report. The one that really stands out is today, after just under 2 years of getting a grant, we had the 40-minute kickoff meeting for our Curry Road grant. Don't hold your breath on this, but it is happening. So that's what that does is from today forward, you've seen the bills coming across. As of tomorrow, I can start applying to get reimbursed for them. So the bills you've seen come through from Barton List, our engineer, those were actually covered under the grant. But an earlier resolution was so that the town would fund it. It's a reimbursement grant. So we've been paying them as of today's meeting. Next month, we're going to hopefully start seeing some 60 to 90 days for the state to cut a check. So that's, other than that, it's summer. We're running out of summer and things are moving along like everything else. You know, when it rains, you don't make hay, and when it's nice out, you go like heck. So
What's the paving schedule? Did you have stuff you wanted to pave
yeah,
this year?
and we did. It's in there a little bit, but most of what we do is a cold mix, so it's a air dry process, not a hot mix where it cools. The nice thing with a cold mix is it'll flex much better. Hot mix is nice if you have a super nice base, but once it cracks, it starts blowing apart on you. A cold mix is what we've used. It's well over 65-70% of the time because our road bases aren't so good. But anyways, it's a step process. So it's as we can get equipment, as we can get trucks, as everything else. So you had any particular place named?
No, you had a list. I think you gave us a list in February or March of like
284 agreement.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I don't do is pave a road before it's ready, get the drainage in and all that. So it's, you'll see a lot of prep work ahead of time. Starts cutting trees, cutting brush back, widening, getting the drainage straightened out, and then paving. A lot of guys, they'll pave a little bit ahead of time, and next thing you know, it's blowing apart on you. So, but yeah, it's in the next, we're putting the top on up at Maple Ridge, I think the 19th of this month, in a week and a half or so. Up Salisbury, we're gonna start getting the trimming done, the widening, and that, to be honest with you, with running out of summer, we may just do some what we call grader patching, just to tide it over, because I want to make sure it's gonna hold. I don't want to pave over something and have it not, blow apart and not do a good job. So.
We're going to talk about a little bit in new business on the private roads, but I know you want to get to the fire training. So did you want to add any insight that can advise us a little bit on the private road issue? I mean, we have several, so it's.
Is there a long distance between here and there as far as your agenda?
I
I can hang out,
handle it.
Nate, if that'll help.
What's that?
I can hang out if you want.
Okay,
Sure.
Why
that's
don't you
fine.
do that? And then
I mean,
it's
that's-
interactive. Okay.
He asked if I wanted him to stay, and I said,
Yeah, sure. I'm saying.
he's the one that's got it.
Well, I can handle it,
Yeah, okay. All right. Recreation.
Yeah, things are going pretty good down there, Curtis. I know, the old timers at band, they got some good comments on that this year. They changed up their music a little or so, and I had several comments. And I had help getting the chairs in the church and had help taking the chairs back, which was very well appreciated. It cut my time down with handling them a lot.
You can mention Dave's name. We all know who it was. You could.
There was a couple guys anyway that helped out. One took some back on his truck, which say just one trip, loading up and doing
Chris, raise your hand. Thank you for
And
your
Chris.
help.
Yeah.
it. So it worked out good, as far as I know. And that's about it, I guess. It'd be kind of nice, I don't know, something maybe look into in the future, to have some other bands, different types of music down there. 'Cause not everybody likes old timers. Some don't, some do. That's about it, I guess.
Thank you. County legislature. Kevin is not here. If Kevin shows up, we'll give him a chance later. I'm not going to go through the whole list of the zoning and code enforcement. There's probably 15 to 20 hours of inspections, applications, emails, phone calls, etc. Planning board.
Planning board next meeting Wednesday, August 26th at 7 PM. The next ZBA meeting is Thursday, September 3rd at 7 PM. Historian, no report received. Town clerk fees collected in July, $435. Dispersed $402.50 to the town of Preble. $10 to New York State Ag and Markets, and $22.50 to the New York State Department of Health.
All right, unfinished business, the community development block grant update. We're actively we've received 12 completed applications. And that they've processed and approved 3, and I think there's 6 that they're working on this week. So it's I think it's likely next month we'll have some. We'll be able to have. We'll be at the part where we would make some approvals to get the ball rolling on some of those grants. Amanda Shaw's zoning change. We need to do a resolution to
You
set
need to set a
the.
public hearing.
Yeah, we need to. So we're ready to set a public hearing for that in September. We did hear back from the county, which was local local
essentially,
determination. So do you have a draft? Do you have a
And by just make a motion to set a public hearing to consider the
all right.
zone change.
I'd like to make a motion to set a public hearing for the September meeting to consider the Amanda Shaw zoning change.
Second,
Will that come before the regular meeting or?
7.
No, it's
At
part of the
7.
meeting.
At
Okay.
7. The public hearings will start at 7.
Okay. You second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Computer IT update. Okay, let's get that. We got the computers installed. Nice shiny new hardware over there for the town clerk and for everybody else to use. If the board members want a username and password, we can set that up, but it's going to be for myself and the code enforcement officer and the assessor and what's that? The bookkeeper. Yeah. So they will all be able to do their work here. And we have a dedicated computer network just for town business. So it's going in the right direction. It's not completed yet, but I've got to get the Williamson Law Office program on there for the books for Gina so that she can start coming to do her work here. And I would anticipate that not this week, but hopefully next week when they can transfer her stuff. When they can transfer the data that she's got on her computer at home to the town network. So it's happening. It just always takes longer than I hope anticipated. So, and I added speed signs to the list just because we did get some information back from the sheriff. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or
Yeah. I talked to Jeff had talked to Mark Helms about setting up just a speed survey on Song Lake.
that's like an unmarked car?
Yeah, a retired officer and an unmarked car, and all he did was recorded speed. Everybody that went by recorded their speed, and so I broke it down. So he did one in the morning and one in the afternoon. One he had 68 vehicles, and 30% were less than 40 miles an hour. 48% were between 40 and 45 miles an hour, and The rest were over 45 miles an hour. And the second time he did it, it was 74 vehicles. 39% were less than 40, 36 between 40 and 45, and so 25% that were over 45. And I think top speed was just over 60. But so I asked Mark about, he said he could come in and talk to the board if we wanted him to. He was open to that. He just, anytime we wanted him to come stop in, he could and talk about the speed sign, the radar detection speed signs that we've been talking about. I asked him about putting flashing lights on all speed limits or speed zones entering the village and stuff. And he said, anything helps. All these things help, but people get used to them. But he said he's willing to come in and talk to us at any time. So we want him next meeting or whatever. We can just call him up and he'll come in. And
The speed limit's 40 there.
35.
It's 35.
Yep.
On Song Lake Road.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he only measured over 40.
No, he wrote a number down for everybody that went by, and so I just broke it down.
Oh, you give us
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But 68%. I mean, whether they're speeding or not is not in question.
Right.
Whether
They're going
whether or
too
not the
fast.
radar sign is going to
Yeah.
make a difference is like okay.
And so he said he's got experience with them, and he can come in and talk to us about them if we want him to. And
Okay.
so
I mean, we can digest that, and I wouldn't mind talking to him myself, but we're not going to. I don't think we should take any action on it this evening. But I think
I'll see if we can get in here next month and
do you want to talk to
Make a
Mark, or
list.
you want me to talk to Mark, or you want?
I would like to talk to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
all right. New business. Michelle Baker's not here tonight. She resigned a week and a half ago. What?
You don't have to accept her resignation.
We don't have-
It's your appointment.
Yeah, so there's no motion to be made. I just
Right.
wanted to inform everybody that she resigned. So so I do want to be sure to thank her for the amount of time she put in for the first 7 months. I mean,
especially with that grant program.
Would-
She put
she-
a ton
she
of
was-
Absolutely, she set that all up.
she did. She took that almost entirely off my plate
Yeah.
and allowed me to focus on some other things, which was greatly appreciated. And with that came, she was a signer on some of the documentation required for the grant when we ultimately approved the applications that are coming in. So I'm asking for 2 volunteers to be signers to replace, because I cannot be a signer. So it's Jen, and then ideally 2 board members would be signers to request the funds. So when we get to the part where we ask the state to actually send us the money to pay the contractors,
Mhm.
it's 2. I think it requires 2 signatures, but we would have 3 signers. Jen would be 1, and then ideally 2 board members. So
That way, if one of us is not available, the other 2 can sign.
right.
I didn't hear you.
I said that way, if one of us is not available, there'll be 2 other
Yeah,
people that can
basically,
still sign.
We
because
need 2
to-
signatures, but we would like to have 3 authorized.
This will happen at a board meeting or some.
One of us
Sure.
could catch up with you or come to you if we need
Yeah,
to
it's.
do that. We don't know when it will be.
I know that there's a. This is just for requesting the funds, because I know there's a 5-day limit for paying the contractors when the money comes in. So I don't think we're in. I don't think we're in that 5-day. That was the deadline that we were worried about, making sure we had the plan in place to meet the 5-day limit. So but it would be, I mean, Jen's here Wednesday and Thursday afternoons, evenings, so,
And I have access to my town email outside of here, so if something came up and I got an email, I can take care of it when we need to take care of it, other than the times that I'm here. So we just need a couple of you, if you would be willing just to be signers with us on that.
I'll make all three of us signers, right?
Yeah.
And all we need is two of them.
Yeah.
we can add 3 more, so
That's
Here we
fine.
are.
Just do that. and
that works.
Yeah.
That's even better.
That way,
Thank you.
Then you just gotta get a hold of somebody.
Yep.
So I
Yep,
think
and I
we,
have all your numbers.
so we
Okay.
probably need a resolution to that effect. Or do they just need to sign? They just need to sign. All
Yeah,
right,
she just
so-
said that, she didn't say that we needed a resolution or
All right.
anything.
So remind, but at some point this evening, all 3 of you need to sign the signature thing. Okay.
Thank you all for doing that.
easier to get a hold of 2 of us that way. Oh, you got it right there.
On Michelle's position, I have not made any decision
Entertained everybody
on
up.
that, so I certainly open to advice or suggestions, but that I will have an answer to that by the next meeting. We have a seat, all right, so that, the next item on the new business is we have a seat expiring September 30th on the Board of Assessment Review. So I would like to accept applications or letters of interest of anybody in the town that may be interested in that position. So, and I'd like to do that for any vacancies that as they come up. I think we should be in the habit of seeking who's interested in any positions that as they come up. So anyway, so that's, I don't think we need a resolution to that effect. We're just letting everybody know that there is a seat open on the Board of Assessment Review. We would like to hear from anybody that's interested in being appointed to that position. So we would
They can be emailed to
Email
me or
to
dropped
the-
off or sent
yeah.
to me,
or me.
and then
Yep,
I'll collect
right.
them and give them to you.
Yep, and then we can review them at the next meeting, and the seat expires on September 30th, so we'd want to make a decision at the next meeting on the who's going to fill the next term. So, code enforcement, good news, bad news. Dirk Van Patten he passed all his exams, and then 2 days later he broke his leg in 4 places. So he had surgery, I think Friday, or yeah, he texted me he had surgery. You know, he still wants to keep pursuing the code enforcement position. You know, Ben Vincent thought he was going to be done by now. That obviously isn't happening yet. So one concern he expressed to me is that he would like to be on the books as an official employee, so that he's getting credit for his New York State retirement, which I absolutely agree with. So I don't know if do we need a
resolution for that?
we need a resolution for that. So I would like a resolution to, I mean, it's month to month. They're all right. Or is
If
it
he's gonna be on the books, you're gonna have to hire him, then he'll have to resign or you have to terminate him when.
okay?
Dirk's
But
ready.
when Dirk's ready,
Yeah.
then Ben will
Do you
Ben
have
will
a-
resign. Look,
Do you have a,
Ben does not want this job forever. He's helping us out. So
is the pay rate gonna be the same? You
Um,
gotta consider the tax and retirement contribution implications of that, the payroll tax. I mean, there's a lot. I think that should be discussed before,
I need more information on it.
yes.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just letting everybody know where we're at. So Dirk's still interested in the position. Ben's still filling in, but he would like to be transitioned to whether it's 3 months or 6 months. I couldn't
You
say.
can make it retroactively effective.
We
at
can.
The next meeting, yeah.
How far retroactive can you do it? Because I mean, he's been doing the job since January
I
5th.
mean, we would need to be reasonably related to when the determination was made, so like now, not
Okay,
January.
okay. Well, he's entitled to the credit is my point.
No,
But
right, but he was
there's
hired.
limits
with
to-
There's only because he was hired with the understanding he would not be a regular, yeah.
yeah, okay. All right. So anyway, we'll revisit it next month. We'll make sure we'll put it into a formal package of what
Yeah.
the compensation is going to be. But so that's where we're at with that. New business, private town roads. So I spoke to Jackie last week and she outlined what we heard in the public comments tonight. I did not speak to the other two women that spoke, but so I guess I'm in the information gathering phase, and I wanted to give anybody. I spoke to Jeff about it on Friday to see what the possibilities or challenges might be, and he gave me a lot of information I didn't have. So, and I wanted to give Jeff an opportunity to address the board to the extent that he can provide a little bit of insight or context about what's possible, what's not, and so how much do you want to talk about? It's totally up to you.
I can cover some of it too if you want, Jeff, so it's up to you.
So, and you wanna?
Well, I'll start.
The legal
You can
side
fill-
of it, and then
Well,
I can fill in the blanks.
So and I'm just a messenger here. So there's a section of the New York State Constitution called the Gifts and Loans Clause, which prohibits cities, towns, counties, school districts from giving or loaning property to aid private individuals and organizations. So it means that the town cannot spend town money on a private road, and the town cannot, even if you wrote a check to the town and said, here's the total cost of completely bringing this up to town standards, the town would essentially be loaning the equipment and the personnel, even if you paid for it. So that constitutionally speaking, the state constitution, the town cannot do work on a private road. It doesn't mean there's no option. There's nothing. There's no options. It means that is not an option. So there is something, and I think Jeff was going to call Town Law Section 200, which does provide options. But the long and short of it is none of those options can end in it continuing to be a private road, which maybe is your preference that it's not. That's okay.
Yeah.
Which I understand from what you were saying. I completely understand it. You know, as a real estate attorney, private roads, even in the context of property sales, cause problems because you have to deal with agreements and maintenance and everything. But the one thing is, and this is a matter of state law, comptroller opinion, and it does go back to the Gifts and Loans Clause, is while there's two different ways to go about it, you can step in because you probably have direct experience with this, being on the operational end of it. You can either bring the road, which I don't think is going to be possible based on some comments you've made about uncooperative neighbors. You can bring the town up to you can bring the road up to town standards yourself and then dedicate the road to the town and the town can accept it. Or the town can, and there's a process involved that can basically determine what work has to be done and what the cost is going to be to bring the road up to town standards. And then the town can do that. And then the property owners that benefit from it can be assessed for that cost. I understand your argument about taxes and services. Totally understand. This is a matter, despite that, that can't be a consideration. Like the cost has to be borne by the properties that are benefiting, no matter what you've paid in taxes in the past and what services you haven't received. And again, that is a function of state law. There is state law that's directly on point. There is New York State comptroller opinions that are directly on point. The town does not have the ability to do that. So either way, you're going to have to pay for the road to be brought up. Now, it can be assessed and possibly, and I haven't looked into it, but I think Jeff did because he mentioned it to Nate, over a period of time, pay back over a period, not all in one shot, because that would probably be extremely expensive if the road's in the shape that it looks like it's in. But ultimately the properties that are benefiting from it have to bear the cost. There's no way around that. That's not a matter of opinion. It's not a matter of it would be illegal for them to vote otherwise. So there are options available to you, and I think I don't think that you're going to be able to get everybody to agree to spend the money. Do you have any idea what it would cost, Jeff?
I could run numbers, but
Well, we're going to need it at some
Yeah.
point if they're going to take one of these. So, I mean, there's a petition process. I can get that information to you. It doesn't have to be unanimous of every property owner. Certainly, we will do on our end, because it seems to me it's a situation that's untenable. It can't continue like this for a lot of reasons. And I'm not going to speak for the board, but it seems like they want to do what they can to help within the confines of the law and what's legally possible. So that's me. Jeff, if you have anything you want to add?
Not really, but, and it isn't just road you're talking about. There are other roads in town that are private roads that create their own problem because they're private roads.
Right.
So just, like everybody thinks winter maintenance and potholes, but it's private roads. And one person, this came up 15 years ago. He says, well, town will take it over, but then I want to put a sign up that says, no loitering or something, because they like it being a private road. And I'm like, here we go. But the biggest hurdle I see is some of these roads is what you really have now is an easement, a transportation easement.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody owns the whole road. It's the property owners own to the center of the road, theoretically. And the easement is available. Moving forward, and correct me unless I missed something on this, John, but the road would actually have its own deed. Gotta be surveyed off, and then it becomes town property. There's the traditional dollar exchanged that, and where it gets sticky in the discussions from 15 years ago in different roads is this property owner doesn't want to give up this, or you can't cut that tree, or the same thing with the whole neighbor thing.
That's where we would have to, especially if you have uncooperative, you're right. Because typically it would be done like in a residential subdivision. It would just, the developer would have a legal description prepared for the roads and then give it a one shot to the town. Condemnation, I mean, an eminent domain taking would be possible, which, I mean, everybody, gets their back up a little bit when you think about eminent domain, but this is the kind of thing. I mean, it would be easier if everybody would agree and just allow the deeds to be prepared. But if that's not a possibility, then the condemnation is a possibility as well.
I think it would be really helpful if we could get it in writing exactly what we would need
for
for these
yes.
to be accepted as town roads. Right now, we've already maintained North Green Lake Road.
Okay.
We put a lot of money into it, especially in the last 4 years. So potholes are not a problem today, but as we get closer to 281, there is a lot of erosion. We've gotten it fixed at least 3 times in the last 6 years. It continues to erode, and we have a business at the top of that road. So if we can get it in writing, right now, the money isn't a problem because it's not a problem today, right? But it is helpful to have very specific understanding of what do we need to do, even with the easement or, the property aspect. We collectively, I think, are in agreement that we would like to get some help. And so the more we know, the better informed we can make that decision.
Well, that's reasonable, and I think he can help you with that. But you bring up erosion. I mean, when we talk about a town road, a town highway, it's referred to in the law, it's not just the actual pavement. Remember, we also have to think about the drainage, culverts, things like that too. And I don't know what there is there.
The more we know, the better we can.
No,
make a
I
decision,
100%
sure.
agree. More information is always a good thing. I'm not familiar with these particular roads. I mean, he is obviously.
And that's what, if you would come out and look with us and help to just inform us of what would be possible. Yeah, I think it would just allow us to be better informed, but also if there are things that we can do, I know that we're eager to learn more.
Sorry to put more on your plate, Jeff.
Oh, good. All good.
So
No, I'm glad to help
it-
because back to the fire aspect, back to, and the reasons that, you know, everybody says, I want this really nice, smooth road, and then the next thing you have a speed limit problem because the road's too smooth. And then they will just put speed bumps in. Well, that's illegal on a road. So it's just careful. I know exactly where it comes from. Don't let this sound like it might sound, but super smooth isn't always good either. Maintained is good, where it's not self-destructing. But you know, the super nice quarter mile drag strip that you make something really nice, and then you'll have the next discussion.
This is my mother's road. They have, some of them want to fill the potholes. Half of them don't want to fill the potholes because they want everybody to slow down.
the speed bump.
It's like,
I know Salisbury Road.
this is Cummings Point. Yeah, but
That's what I mean.
it's the same question.
Yeah.
You know, and part of the conversation about which private property is the road on, is it 100% on somebody's, or in some cases you're crossing 12 lots in pieces. So I mean, the deed work and the legal work, every parcel you add, it just keeps going up and up and up.
So question on
Yeah.
that, because yes, there are a lot of people involved in this on our two separate roads. What is the best next step to get clarity on what that would even look like? Is that your job from the highway department of saying this is what we would need for it to qualify, and you can tell us exactly how encroaching it would be on certain properties?
I would involve the county, and I don't have engineering staff.
Yeah.
So I would involve the county engineers and, you know, for an opinion,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's sketched on the back and say, okay, this is generally what you'd be looking at.
Yeah.
Is this attainable? I mean, short of going out and hiring B&L or somebody as an engineering firm to come in and shoot grades and shoot, you know, property pins and all that, I think it's really pricey real quick if there's, you know, if it goes nowhere.
And is there a process to start that so that we're not pushing this out to next spring? Because I know, just knowing our weather, you know, it could snow in October.
And it has.
And it probably will.
As far as actually starting the ball rolling, I think some general, like I say, napkin things, okay, it's gonna be $250,000 is just a number to attain this. And then whatever the legal side of it is, if they go 10 years or whatever on a special tax district, and the vote and the you know, when you start crunching all these numbers and say, okay, then you say, okay, is that something that we can live with? And then we can go to the next step of saying, okay, engineers and splitting hairs and all that. But I don't know that it's up to the board as far as how detailed you want to get out of the gate to decide if this is attainable, I guess.
I mean, there's a couple different, again, just preliminarily, there's on their end determining what the road width has to be, what the engineering standards are for the road, et cetera. Legally, a determination about, I mean, I haven't, this was, you know, I heard about this right before the meeting tonight, so I don't know what's,
There was a formal
you're right,
process in place.
I don't know, yeah, right. So I don't know what there is or isn't. I haven't looked, you know, at any of that. We would need to determine what properties it crossed after we know the width, et cetera, and how long it needed to be. We would need to determine whether or not we had the consent of all of those owners.
Mhm.
If you don't, if you feel it just don't respond or they're opposed or whatever, there would need to be a determination by the board whether or not, you know, they wanted to exercise a condemnation power. But even then, that requires getting an appraisal. I mean, because you literally, even if it's a 10 feet by 20 feet on someone's land, you have to get an appraisal of it because you have to pay them fair market value if you condemn something. And if they fight it or you know, if they don't eventually end up agreeing to it, then you have to take them to court. Like all of this takes time. So it's possible to do this. And I don't know how your road compares to her road. Maybe you have the cooperation of her, I don't know. I'm just saying.
This is an education for all of
No,
us, you know?
absolutely it is. Yeah. So there's a lot of moving pieces, and it's certainly something that it seems, that the board, that it seems like the board's willing to explore, but it's not going to be a quick process.
My hope is just that we don't leave here and we don't have any answers. Like, I would just like to know, like, by the next board meeting, what can we do to educate ourselves as the homeowners to ensure that you have all the information you need to get the ball rolling? I'm by no means of saying, give us an answer tomorrow, but
Right.
I do want a next step and make sure that we can offer whatever we need to on our end.
The only thing I'll throw out there, in my 27 years as highway superintendent, we've taken over one road. It was not through any of this process. It's where Sioux Code is right now. At that time, it was Thomas Albert Drive, and it was built in, and the town took it over. There has been 2 conversations. One was with Rittenhouse Square, probably 15 or so years ago, and one was Green Lake Road South. I can't remember how long ago. I'm gonna say it was over 20 years ago. And they both, once we got to this point, there wasn't the push to keep it moving at that point. One thing I will say, just like anything else in this world, if it's gonna happen, push and make it happen, because it's just getting more expensive by the day. So if that's the goal, then get there, because 20 years ago, you could have done it for maybe 100,000. Now it's going to be 2 or 250, just like anything else.
The other thing I would say is this is subject to a permissive referendum, which means that if the board passes a resolution to do this, then people who, for whatever reason, didn't want it to happen could bring petitions to challenge it and put it up to a referendum, like to a public vote. So I think on your end, one of the first things I would do is find out how, share the information you've gotten tonight to the extent you've gotten some of your questions answered. And I'll answer any questions I can after the meeting. Just make sure your neighbors, to the greatest extent possible, are on board. I mean, understanding what's possible, like the town cannot do maintenance on a private road. It has to become a public road, which sounds again like that's better for you in a lot of ways anyway. But that ultimately the cost can't be spread around the town. The cost of bringing it up to standards one way or another is going to have to be paid by the residents.
And that's where it comes back to understanding what the costs.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I understand, but I mean, you're already responsible for it anyway, right? Yeah.
Just from this conversation, what it sounds to me like, the cost to make it a public road is going to be cost prohibitive, and and not only that, you don't have everybody. If you don't have every single person on board, you're going to end up in a situation where spreading it across 12 people, of which 8 are willing and 4 aren't, is going to be more expensive than who's willing to invest in the road the way you've been doing now. It sounds to me like you're going to end up with because the town spec, like that, is no joke. I mean, it's engineering, surveying, legal work. I mean, the pinball is turning pretty quick. You start adding lawyers and engineers. So, but I mean, I want to explore it with you, but we're handcuffed by, even if we wanted to vote for 20 loads of run across a year or whatever, and we all agreed on it, it would still be illegal. So we can't do it. So that's the bind that we're in. But I certainly want to explore how to assist. If you want to go, any developer, any private owner can build a road to town spec and forgive it to the town. That is, I assume, state law.
You don't have to accept it, but yeah.
Well, but anytime anybody does a subdivision,
where you can accept, yes.
Right. So that is a way to go. I'm just saying that those numbers are going to be eye-popping. Eye-popping.
To town specs, does that mean it would have to be paved, or can it still be a gravel?
I think currently it has to be paved.
Because like Mount Toppin Road is gravel.
You're 100% right. And the residents the original discussion was they didn't want it paved.
Mhm.
It's the biggest pain in the butt road to maintain in the winter for us, you can imagine.
How long ago was that though?
What's that?
How long ago was that road? How long has that been a town road though?
31 plus.
Yeah.
It's been forever. It's a road by use, so it's before the sixties.
Right,
And-
whatever the road specs were then, they're different now.
Because the town took that road over a little bit before those 31 years. And then I went to the board in 1998 to get them to grandfather Green Lake Road, which had a green sign on it. It was maintained by the town of Preble. And then that one day, December 13th, 1998, that sign was switched to a red one and made it private.
So how can they,
When I bought in 1985.
I wonder if there's any grant stuff out there for road improvement stuff. But
It'd have to be a public road first.
yeah, before they would do, yeah, okay, yeah. I don't know.
There's a chicken
I'm
and egg problem.
thinking out loud. All right, so
Did that answer at least give you some more information?
It gives me some information. I mean, I would like to see the writing, and I would love to like set up some time to actually have Jeff, if you would like come down and like walk through it with us and
I'll go.
talk to us. I mean, it would be really helpful just to have a base to work from. I appreciate it.
I'll be there too.
Thank you.
yes, it's gonna be vendor, I'm sure, your road's not.
No, at least we've been on top of it, but it's getting very, very costly.
Okay, we have to move to the dog shelter donations. Jen, can you help me out with that part? The dog.
Sure. So there was a law passed at the end of last year that requires municipalities to now require a line item on dog license renewals. So when I send out those renewals, we need to have a statement on there stating that we can accept donations for Country Acres Animal Shelter, who does all of our handling of dogs that are loose or if there are issues with animals or whatnot. So I just need this resolution to be passed so that I can now start using line item A2705 to be added to the monthly reconciliation and payment to the town supervisor of monies taken in by myself. And that line is specifically for the donation. So we would collect the donations and then give that information to Gina on my monthly report, and then a check would need to be sent to the Country Acres with the donation amounts.
All right, so we have the voluntary shelter contributions on dog license renewals. Do you want me to read this motion, or do you want to do it as presented? You guys got a copy of the?
This is how that's presented.
I did give everybody a copy, I did not.
Okay, I'm just gonna read it so you guys, whereas chapter 59 of the laws of 2010 is amended, where further amended effective December 2025 to require a line item on dog license renewals, giving applicants the option of making a contribution in support of the pound or shelter managed or contracted by the municipality and deposit said funds in a dedicated fund to disperse annually to the applicable pound or shelter, and whereas the town contracts for these services with the Country Acres Animal Shelter, and whereas the town clerk's office has initiated this requirement by listing the option to make donations to the Country Acres Animal Shelter on all dog licensing renewal processes and establishing the budget line item of Alpha 2705 to be added to the monthly reconciliation and payment to the town supervisor of monies taken in by the town clerk's office. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board acknowledges the new legislation and approves the establishment of line item Alpha 2705 and the process and procedures made for implementing this law.
So moved.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. think the last thing on new business is the court grant that we were talking about a little while ago. So I am going to read another motion on the court grant. So whereas the Preble Town Court has several needs which were not included in the current town budget, and whereas applications for the 2026-2027 Justice Court Assistance Program grants are currently open and are due September 22nd, 2026, and whereas the Preble Town Court is eligible for up to $30,000 in JCAP grants, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of the Town of Preble authorizes the Preble Town Court to apply for a JCAP grant in the amount of $30,000.
I'll second that.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Monies received, post office paid the rent, $779. And then we gotta pay the bills. I have a motion.
Make a motion pay general fund vouchers abstracts number 8, numbers 142 to 157, totaling $11,911.11. That's a lot of ones.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers abstracts number 8, numbers 77 and 94, totaling $105,000 or $105,348.10.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We got 5 public hearings. Do we need to check on those?
Yeah, we didn't. The public hearings that we have scheduled, we scheduled them last month, right?
4 of them.
Should we bring them up and remind people, or?
Okay, so, just a reminder, we have several public hearings next month. We have the Amanda Shaw zone change request, and then we have three moratoriums on wind, solar, data center, and battery.
We didn't do data center.
Oh, we didn't do data. We just did battery
Storage.
storage, solar, and wind moratoriums. There's a public hearing at 7:00 for next month's meeting.
And the
Following the
zoning district amendment.
Yep, I mentioned that. So the
No,
regular,
no, not the zone change, the CD for commercial power. Yep.
okay. That's establish
The
the
new zoning
the
district.
new zoning
solely,
district
yep.
for commercial power.
Yes.
That's right. So there's
4 plus the 5 total, 4 plus the zone
5
change.
total public hearings. That was kind of confusing. I didn't say that very well. 5 public hearings next month, followed by the regular meeting, all starting at 7. And that's it. We have a motion to adjourn. Oh, public comments. I'm sorry. One more thing. That concludes the public or the boards section. The town board will now hear public comment on any topic. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Thank you for your cooperation. Anybody want to be heard? Yes.
Yeah, just a quick one. Last month, the board went into executive session right after the salute to the flag, which meant that everybody in the audience was waiting around for 40 minutes or so until the board meeting started. My suggestion would be that executive session be held at the end of the town board meeting, as they've been done in the past.
The reason,
It's going to be case by case basis. And that,
I believe the reason for that was we had to have that executive session prior to our meeting
to make
to make a decision during the meeting.
Well, we also paying Rick to be here.
Yeah.
There's also a professional that the town's paying to be here. So if the executive session was at the end of the meeting, we've been paying him longer to sit through the meeting.
I think it's going to be case by case. I don't think it's always going to be that way.
Yeah. That was rare. I mean, that's the first one I remember. But it was
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
something that had to be discussed prior to the meeting with the board.
Anything else?
I did.
Oh, yeah.
Has the bookkeeper filed all the correct answers and gotten them approved, accepted?
Rick is asking information. The CPA is working on that.
No. Well,
I don't have any information.
no, I'm wondering about my,
Oh, what you can
my
say. You
role.
can't comment on an individual. You cannot comment on any individual. If it's identified,
Employee.
you can just say that the CPA is working on ensuring that.
Apparently not.
I don't have it. I don't have any good information for you on that. That's about it. As best I can tell you. I don't have any good information for you on that. What?
Say it's being worked on.
Yeah. Other than we're working on it. But this was a big step in the right direction. And
Get the computers here and getting it.
I on the computer update I offered earlier about getting the Williamson Law program installed so that I can access some of the reports that they're looking for and make sure that that's getting done properly. It's in the works. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody.
We gotta initial this one too. It wasn't in the packet. She screwed up.
Oh, I know. It's been over 10 years.
There's only 8 of
You get a lifetime of maintenance stuff too.
Wait, you could just ask me about, you're just paying all the bills all done.
If you have any experience, I mean, I remember something, I don't know, like having the front
That's why I put my notes
shit
on
that I've
there.
dealt with,
I
just
can't
trying
do
to
that.
do residential real
Right.
estate transactions, when there's like a public road that hasn't been maintained, and 2 other parcels have put a lien on the guy because he didn't, you know what? Oh, yeah, because
How that-
then they call it private, I mean, it's
The private
private.
road thing is if